Hey, so I was just listening to the edit and painfully listening to my own voice, and I realized I didn't really mention anything about the contest at all other than its name. So Webtoon's holding a call to action contest. It's going to feature an action-packed one-shot episode with at least 60 panels and 2 characters fighting minimum. So when I release it, it's going to be called Keepings Off. I'll probably post about that here on YouTube with a link when it's available in 2 weeks. It's you can start uploading in June, and I'll probably put it on my Instagram as well. All of that stuff's going to be in the description. I missed these bits. I'm shoving them in at the front. Anyway, here's my raw recording of me not being comfortable recording audio. Have fun. Goodbye. Alrighty, so I'm going to just have some screen recordings of the turnarounds I did for my characters for the Webtoon Call to Action contest, playing over me rambling about the contest itself and like the character design specifically. I'd like to do 3 of these, who knows. So on the screen we've got Dash, and he was the first one I designed. He's the most parkour looking of the 3. I got to play around with the other 2 designs a bit more and go for some different aesthetics, but Dash is very modern parkour aesthetic. I used a lot of reference from Stora and like general skateboarding culture for his outfit. I pretty much had it set in stone from like the first sketches, but I thought I'd try some other outfits while I was rendering it digitally just for funsies. I did not pick shorts though. Alright, I'm gonna try and read off my list. So purpose of his character. That's a bit wankerish. I'm not gonna start with that. Let's start off with just the clothing design in general. So I wanted him to be wearing fairly loose clothes, like quite frankly oversized. He's quite thin, but I wanted all of his clothes to be slightly too big for him, just to like go with that that more relaxed street style. It was a bit flowier, and I designed the most sneakers for him. I wanted him to have cool sneakers, and I ended up going with some runners with the like chunky heels on them and like some triangle type motifs that I wanted to keep in. I gave all of the characters a shape design. So Dash has a triangle. He's meant to be fast, so I thought that worked really well. Rambling. I gave him a cap as his prop. I was going to do a hoodie, but I figured a cap was a bit more versatile and a bit sportier. I couldn't see him running around and keeping a hood on. The cap, initially when I was drawing it on my storyboards, I had him flipping it around for when he was running really fast, but I like the way it partially covers his face. He's a bit shy. And it makes him look a little bit menacing as well, which plays really well into some panels. I'm recording this after I finish my entry as well, just for your information, so I know exactly what's in my comic because it's done. I did these character design sheets a couple weeks ago, just before I started finishing off the storyboards. Oh my god, 10 minutes is a long time to fill with a voice recording. I could just read my notes that I wrote. Let's try that. Alright. Dash's purpose in the trio is to... They all fill a different skill set. So Dash's skill set is to be like quick and flowy. That's his style of parkour. Well, that's what he's going to learn and lean into if I ever extend this story, which I would like to. Okay, the purpose of his character, blah blah blah. They're all going to have an athletic look. Yeah, so athletic is the like key thing when I was designing all of the characters. I wanted them to look athletic, not like just miss it for like street style or anything. They need to look athletic. That's what they do. And yeah, I really played into him being thin and wearing oversized clothes. Like small details like on the seam where the shoulder is. Generally, that sits at the top of the shoulder if you're wearing something that fits you correctly. Why did my computer turn off? But I deliberately made the seam sit lower in his shoulder, and then I did the opposite for Axel. Axel's shirt's far too small for him, so the seam rides up quite high. So if they swapped shirts, I would be living in an ideal world, but that's not how I'm rolling with this. Yeah, Trachydax, I'm probably going to take the stripe out of his pants. I did it for the whole comic, but I don't like it. I might change that if I ever continue this story. Frankly, I don't like characters wearing the same outfits constantly, so I'm probably going to give them more than one outfit if I extend the story, which I have loads of ideas for, but it's not a primary story that I want to tell. I can tell it, but I would like to focus more on my main comic, Astray. Get back into that over, I would call this a side project, which I have many of. But, you know, if Webtoon wants to pick me up, I have a whole story about 100 episodes worth planned out. Hit me up, I'll let you know what I've got in mind. So more on Dash's design. So thinner, he's athletic, he's fast, but I also wanted him to look more muted. So his face is really simple. So he's got really thin lips, just a really straight nose, and his face is partially covered by the cap, and quite frankly a lazy shade at half the time. And just give him little raccoon eyes, because I think it looks a little more vague. I don't want a lot to read on his face. You're meant to wonder a little bit more about that. The other two are quite expressive, they speak a lot, and Dash only gets one line at the very end of the comic, as opposed to the other two that made up most of the speaking lines, particularly Axel. Blah blah blah. What else did I write? Also, it's fun when you've got a character that's got like mostly hidden features to do the eye highlights. So like under the cap where I've shaded it black, I shade his eyes a lot of the time, but if I want you to see them, it's blindingly white. Looks quite intense. I think that's super fun to play on, since it is an action comic. What else did I write? Stylish. Stora. With the colours I ended up choosing, so predominantly black, white, grey. That's very parkour, very simple, street style. Like, parkour's meant to be more style-wise efficient. It used to mean the movement was efficient as well, but like, flips are fun, okay? It doesn't have to be A to B anymore. It's a little bit more artistic. I was going to do since I gave them all a shape, so like triangle, square, circle, I was going to go very simple, red, blue, green for the colours as well, but when I was decorating my folder, I was using a washi tape that had orange, teal and purple in it, and I thought those colours looked a bit better, so I reassigned all their colours, and Dash ended up with orange. I still think that kind of reads the same way as red. That's quite a quick colour. So that's why I did that. What have I written here? Alright, so I've written shit about it being a one-shot. So I've done this little one-shot parkour comic with my 3 characters. I tried as hard as I could to cram a bit of their personality into the mix of it. So in the beginning they get a really short introduction. Dash doesn't say anything. He's interacted with, but he doesn't really say anything. He's just there. The other 2 get their speaking lines, but I still think that shows enough of his personality. He's shy, he's there, they're his friends, but he doesn't feel the need to verbally contribute very often. Why is it hard to speak on camera? Alright, another thing I played into his design. So like, I like giving all of my characters like distinguishable skin tones. So the other 2 got a dark and a mid-tone, and I was like, well, I could use some of my preset like white skin tones, but I really played it up. He's almost as pale as his t-shirt, which is not showing on screen because Jesus, I took a long time on that line art. And when I was writing what I could extend into their stories, I gave them all an individual arc. They've got all different things they're struggling with, and how they're using their sport to help them with that and each other. And I thought it would be fun to play on a character who's not perfectly healthy. So I'm exaggerating that with just his like deathly white skin tone. So I thought part of his arc, if I extend the story, would be dealing with legitimate health troubles and how that affects the sports you want to do and your relationships and your friends and how you view yourself. And like, if you're worried about your body not being reliable, what kind of things are you going to do different? Are you going to who are you going to tell about this? Getting diagnosed with anything is like a total shit show. Like, that's going to play on your mind too. So a large part of his arc is about that. I'm not going to delve into the exact details because spoilers if I ever do anything with this. I'd like to. But a second part would be he's very relaxed and he doesn't really try too hard. He doesn't try harder than he has to with a lot of the things he does. So being naturally good at stuff, he's like, oh, that's okay. I'm at the level I'm at. People think that's all right. I think that's all right too. But I'm going to have them be put into a more competitive space. So he's going to have to realize that the bare minimum and what he's doing as his bare minimum, even though it's better than a lot of people, isn't going to be good enough all the time. So maybe he should pay attention to what he's doing, as far as speed and efficiency goes. There's going to be someone faster than him and he's going to have to learn how to hone in on his natural skill set and not just rely on raw talent, actually put some effort into things eventually. Not for now though, because you only get 75 panels and there's 3 characters, so he doesn't take up the whole 75. So I thought that would be really fun for his little arc. The other 2 have quite different arcs and different motivations. I'll get into that in their individual videos. Looks like I'm nearly done with the turnaround recording. I was just shading and I had the realization while I was rendering these that I'm shading these in far too much detail to do in a comic format. I simplified it quite a lot when I was doing the actual panels, and I ended up choosing a much darker shading color that had a blue tint to it, because for whatever reason when I draw things on my computer then put them on my phone, it looks really orange and I don't like it, even though every time I look at the grey palettes I've used they are slightly brown, so it's my own fault. But I like earthy tones and my phone doesn't. I have comic pages that I've printed from other things where I'm like, oh, this is a nice natural earthy brown tone of skin to have. And then it gets printed out and they look like a burnt carrot and it makes me upset. Anyway, looks like the video is about to finish. That's that. Here's the turnaround. Excited to show you I guess it would be like a prequel to this comic idea I have for the Webtoon contest. Stick around, I'm going to do 2 more of these videos with my other 2 characters, Minnie and Axel. Yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye!